Hello again. It is Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires, right on our strength. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Erin, Evernham, and Steve Post here in our Hercules Tires studios. How are you?
I'm good. Great. Had an awesome week. What about you?
How about that? Knoxville Nationals. I'm telling you, the energy, the excitement, the racing. Boy, I'm trying. I have to dig, and I haven't found it yet. I'd have to dig really deep to find something wrong with last week.
I would agree. I mean, really, truly. From the amount of fans we had at our shows to the atmosphere, like you said, the energy. I think that's one thing that Knoxville, I don't know another race, and we both get to go to a lot of different races.
Right.
I don't know another one that has that same energy.
We have, coming up on our television show, Kyle Larson, who was in that seat right there.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the energy because we have had, within the NASCAR world, we've had some excitement with Nashville reopening up, and you guys had SRX in Nashville, Cup in Nashville, then the IndyCar. So Nashville's been a hotbed city this year. Road America was good. And I asked Kyle, I said, you know, the excitement level, and he's with all of us. It's like there's something about Knoxville that is just, he said he's been to an Indy 500 as a fan. He said, and that may be the closest. But Knoxville is just Knoxville.
I would say that, I mean, the Indy 500 atmosphere and the Daytona 500, they have a great atmosphere, great energy.
Doubt.
But I think the thing about Knoxville is it's not 100,000 people. It's not 200,000 people. It's 25,000 people.
Right.
It's a little bit more manageable. And Ray and I talked about it. We bumped into Kyle. I think it was on, was it even Saturday? I don't know. He was just on his bicycle looking for lunch. We told him about Cattleman's and the dip in your corn. And he went over there by himself. No PR people, no. And it was like, that's really cool.
It's real low key.
Yeah.
It's real
he
low
can
key.
just be himself.
Right. And everybody can. You sitting there and you watch it. I've stood there. I was coming across the street in front of Casey's, and he had this funky little motorcycle thing he had with little tires on and stuff like that. And I look, I'm like, I had to double take. And he's riding around and people, hey, Kyle, he waves and keeps, this is the hottest driver in all of motorsports. Just riding up and down, waving to fans. Everything is so cool, so chill. And I think that's the beauty of Knoxville. It hasn't got to that crush level. You're right. It's good. I mean, they come over, they do our show, they sign a couple autographs, and they go out, and people are like, oh, man, I got to see him. I guess everyone's cool.
Yeah, no one's angry that they didn't.
No. Didn't get to sign 22 of his diecast cars or whatever it is. I went on our Facebook group on Sunday morning, and I, just everyone thought. And I'm like, the only complaints about Knoxville are the fuel stop. And it's like, okay, that's a 10-year-old problem. That's not a. So I mean,
I think there's room for debate there,
and I think there's room for debate there and everything like that. But I'm like, if we're debating something that was changed 10 years ago, it was a pretty stinking good Knoxville National. I mean, so and that's fine, and I agree. That's a debate that is ongoing. And that's fine. But I'm like, if we've got to go to something that was changed 10 years ago to find something wrong, that's pretty good. So it was good stuff, that's for sure. It was great stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Let's stand corrected. It was not good stuff. It was great stuff. Let's get into our Hefty Racing Product Hot Topics. We understand, we know Kyle Larson had a really, really good week. Kyle joins us on our Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. It's on Rev TV in Canada Saturday night and Mav TV, or Wednesday night, Mav TV on Saturday morning. Okay? There were some other drivers and teams that had really good Knoxville as well. Now we got Nashville. Okay. Gio Scelzi. How about that that was pretty good Knoxville Nationals for Gio.
Yeah, for a 19-year-old.
19-year-old kid. Yeah. He couldn't even consume Wade's whiskey.
I know. And to give it to the older brother.
Which it was probably gone in about 30 minutes.
Although I think Gio said on our show before we went on air, if I drank 2 sips of that, I'd probably be on my rear.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This year continues to be. We've always known Brett Marks is really, really good. We've understood that. We've seen him with his own car run the World of Outlaws and win some races. Then we saw him in the CJB car. And then we saw him leave the CJB car in a move, leaving a fully funded ride to go back to your own deal. And we've seen Brett Marks just flourish this year. And the Knoxville Nationals is another chapter in that. He was that, and he was in that handful of cars that, while it would have been, from his name and his history perspective, a bit of an upset for him to win, his performance, it would have been no upset at all.
Agree.
I mean, that thing was rolling the whole time. one of the biggest things, and TJ Slideways made this point in a blog he did. Imagine your Roth Motorsports 2 weeks ago when you have the Erin Reitzel situation. So you go to Dennis and Teresa Roth and say, it's all right, you'll finish top 10 at the Knoxville Nationals.
Yeah.
We don't even know who the driver is. They tried different drivers at the they tried different drivers along at the Ironman and everything.
360 National, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Casey Kane in 8th place finish. So great for Casey, a part-time racer, finishing 8th place. But how about the fortunes of Roth Motorsports? That is really that is a good Knoxville Nationals. Maybe not in the Roth tradition, but in the recent history that the team and turmoil the team has gone through. That's a pretty stinking good comeback.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I like it. I appreciate TJ. I love TJ Slideways. You know, he mentioned that.
We talked to Casey at the airport too, and he was all three. His 2 cars plus himself were in the top 10 of the Knoxville Nationals. Yeah. And he said, it's kind of crazy that I'm a little disappointed, but yeah. We're all in the top 10.
Well, and that's the thing. We always talk about our guest list, who we want to get, and sometimes we'll get the winner for the TV show or the winner for here and so for our TV show. And I think and I don't think this is wrong. I think when you have Donnie Schatz finish in second and Brad Sweet finish in third, that is a great run, but there's disappointment with those 2 finishing second and third.
Oh, yeah.
And there should be, because that's the championship caliber drivers they were. So, but Roth Motorsports, Casey Kane's great, and yeah, you're right about his teams, but I'm telling you, Roth Motorsports, that's a good Knoxville Nationals compared to where they were at 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, when you think about it. Brooke Tatnell, how about that? Threw that deal together in a couple of weeks and locked it in on his prelim
Stiers, our good buddy Glenn
Stiers from up there. Glenn Oshweekend can't race. They canceled another season up there because Canada is a bigger mess than California.
Track.
I know, isn't that a great place?
Love that racetrack.
And so Brooke put something together with Glenn Stiers, 2 just great people, Canadian, Australian, getting together in Iowa and doing great things.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Brooke Tatnell story. And the Hoseheads Rookie of the Year was Ayrton Jeniton. Anytime you're in Rookie of the Year Knoxville Nationals, you deserve an attaboy, because that is really cool.
You do.
Good stuff. I mean, just great stuff all week long.
Since I was the 2003 Rookie of the Nationals.
You were the 2000. Well, yeah, and you were in the A-Main, too.
Yeah.
Right, A-Main. Well, Jeniton couldn't tuck her in the A-Main, like Crocker did. Not like Crocker did.
18 years ago.
Yeah, 18 years ago, Crocker put it in the A-Main. Yeah, what's up with you, Ayrton? You couldn't do that? Just like, congratulations, Ayrton Jeniton. That is fun stuff. Just a great, and the race at the end. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Just when you thought, okay, this thing.
I was all right, Kyle, you're stinking up the show a little bit.
And all of a sudden, the number 15 freight train and the number 49 freight train.
They were there.
They arrived at the station just about in time. Crazy finish. I mean, just good stuff. Great racing, that is for sure. So the 60th running of the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, and Kyle Larson adds to an incredible legacy, an incredible season. Chili Bowl, Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR All-Star Race, Kings Royal, Prairie Dirt Classic, Knoxville National. You get, maybe with the exception of the NASCAR All-Star Race, maybe. I don't know. There's guys that have made a career out of that being their only win.
Yeah.
Okay. You take any of those other races and you win that, and that is a career-defining moment.
Mm-hmm.
And he did 6. So far.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're only in August.
Yeah, he's got his eyes on the World 100. They're doing Aldor, they're doing the 2 World 100s.
Yep.
He's eyeing that, because he can't do the Saturday one because Richmond races Saturday night. But they're doing the Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is this year's. Thursday is this year's.
Okay.
Because, again, they're doing that backward, and I don't understand what Eldor is doing. But they're doing 2 of them like they've done everything else.
They did the Kings Royals.
So Thursday is this year's, and so he's eyeing that Thursday show. So why not?
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
Of course he is.
There were other races and other winners. Central Pennsylvania, I think we talked about this when Williams Grove and Port Royal shut down. Big Diamond and Clinton County step up. Corey Haas won at Big Diamond. Ryan Smith won at Clinton County. I really like Ryan Smith, and I was chatting with him somewhere. I just really like, he knows he's a little mom and pop team. And he knows that going to Knoxville is an expensive venture for a little mom and pop team with a really, really, really slim chance at really anything good happening. And so he's picking, and in complete honesty, Central Pennsylvania, it's just getting, doing there. He goes there, but he went to Western Pennsylvania and did that speed week and won some races. He goes to Clinton County and wins races. Because it's a whole lot easier building a team winning than it is saying, I ran head-to-head with the top guys and I finished 15th every night, which would be great with the World of Outlaws for a lot of teams. But it's tough to sell the sizzle.
I was going to say, it doesn't sell a lot of sponsorship.
Don't sell a lot of sponsorship and sizzle. I don't know what he's got, but he's got a number of wins at Treks. He's picking and choosing his battles and winning races. We know Ryan Smith, he's a World of Outlaw winner. We know he's capable of doing it, but he understands his team dynamic right now.
Yep.
And he's picking and choosing these and getting another trophy and maybe a little bit more funding and a little trophy and a little bit more funding. And we'll see where he goes. I love that he's doing it. Tyler Ross won at Lincoln. Carl Bowser, we're going to talk to Carl Bowser on the show. He's gotten hot here. He won at Sharon. That's his second straight at Sharon. But Erin, he's in the month of August. He ran 4 times, and all 3 are podium finishes.
Not
Carl
too shabby.
Bowser, he has rolling. In Ohio, Nate Dussel won at Fremont. Dean Jacobs won at Wayne County. And Sunday at Jacksonville, Illinois, Marcus Dumsney picked up the win. I think Danny Smith or someone posted that that's his first win in North America in a 410.
Oh, wow.
So how about that?
Yeah.
Neat stuff. So fun stuff for sure. We're going to talk with who did I say? Carl Bowser, and we're going to talk to Brad Doty and really break down this Knoxville National. So that's what we're going to do here on the program today. HRP knows sprint cars, therefore they know what works best for your team. No other accessory can match quality, performance, and design. Top trailer builders use HRP trailer accessories to outfit their stock and custom-built units.
And they're always adding, like new cordless tool charging stations, sleek in design, hold 2 cordless drills, impacts, or flashlights, and battery chargers. It keeps clutter from your workbench. Roster includes something for every racer, team, trailer, and shop. So don't settle for anything less than Sprint Car Racing's #1 accessories manufacturer.
www.hrpracing.com. I think we knew we were in for a treat when we watched that B Main on Saturday night, the 60th running of the Knoxville Nationals. Yeah, I got that right. Folks at NOS Energy will be happy with that. 4 drivers, Kerry Madsen, Corey Eliason, Spencer Basin, and Sheldon Hodenshield. 3 go to the Knoxville Nationals. 1 does not. You can imagine what it was. This is what it sounded like on Dirt Vision. Here's Johnny Gibson and Tony Bacco.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Here comes Sheldon now to the inside of Spencer Basin on the white flag lap. Will he get there? Basin to the top, Sheldon into a transfer spot in turn 2. Here comes Basin back to the inside, down the back chute for the final time.
Kerry Madsen, Corey Eliason, and Sheldon Hodenshield race for the second spot as the win will go to Carson Messina. The transfer spot, Basin back around Hodenshield out of turn number 4. Who's got it? They are so close at the line. It goes to Sheldon Hodenshield.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Over the years, Dryden has stood for uncompromised value and proven performance. Known as the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication, Dryden's heritage is made in America and made to last. Dryden products work to increase the life and enhance the efficiency of your equipment in the toughest conditions. Learn more about Dryden's products at Dryden.com. From grassroots racing to NASCAR, Dryden is a proud supporter of racing everywhere.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing and support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. And on orders over $20, use promo code MRN for free shipping. Check them out, CircleBDiecast.com.
All right, so we're breaking down the Knoxville Nationals. And who better to break it down with than one of our buddies joining us on the Dryden hotline? It is Brad Doty. Hello, Brad. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
All right. We're working on getting Brad lined up. I cannot hear Brad. Brad, if you're hearing us, hang. All right. Brad Doty joins us here on Wing Nation.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear him very faintly.
Very faint.
I just heard him very faintly. So we'll work on getting that. Okay. We've got our best people working on it. So there you have it. Yeah. Crazy week out there. That's for sure. And just great stuff. All right. Brad Doty, take 3.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I've got you loud and clear. My man, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're fantastic. Big picture, your thoughts on the 60th running of the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals?
Man, I don't even know where to start. I was, listening to the show before I got on here, and you guys touched on a lot of the same things I was thinking, and Casey. I mean, to jump in the 83 and finish 8th like that. I mean, no offense to his own team, but man, he seemed to fit and was pretty comfortable in the 83 right off the bat, it seems like, and running really well. And then I got to, think about shots, and I'm sure he doesn't feel this way, but I sure would. What if? What if Kyle couldn't have made it? He would have had number 11, and he sure gave it a good run at the end. And I had a few people ask me, do you think a few more laps would have made any difference? And I truly don't, because of the track conditions. And I think Donnie was doing what he needed to do as far as trying the outside, trying to make the middle work, because obviously the bottom was the fast way around, and you're not really going to rattle Kyle Larson. But I'm sure Donnie was, that was his only hope, was to get up alongside of him enough to possibly get Kyle to lose focus for a minute, or maybe miss the bottom and slide out of the rubber, and Donnie could have ducked underneath, but man, he gave it a good run.
Yeah, he sure did. Brad, you hit a little bit on the track surface. I want to talk to you about it because we've seen the actual surface of Knoxville change over the years, and the Duncan family does an incredible job on track prep, reworking it. But it was different this year. The cushion didn't get up against the fence like it used to. It didn't seem to get as slick from top to bottom as it has in the past. And then it took rubber at the end of the race. I wanted to get your thoughts on the track prep itself.
I don't understand that either. And I think obviously it threw a lot of the drivers and teams for a loop, but they tilled the top and bottom quite a bit and added moisture to it, before the main event. Mm-hmm. So shockingly, for it to take rubber, it is amazing. And what little I know about track prep, just talking to everybody at Attic over the years, and they've, tried many different types of dirt, and, trying to keep the dust down. And, Ohio is notorious for dusty, dirty racetracks. So I've, been picking people's brains, and humidity has so much to do with track prep and how much moisture, not to mention the sun and wind. And, although Wednesday and Thursday, I mean, the heat was just, and humidity was, so bad. But with that humidity, it's maybe a little easier to keep moisture in the track. So you think, Saturday, what a beautiful day. I mean, it was, mm-hmm. For us, it was easier to breathe. It wasn't as humid, but it had bright sunshine and some wind and less humidity. And I don't know if that's, played into it at all, but, it's not from lack of trying. Those guys are the best. Mm-hmm. Duncan family's been doing it for years. Like I said, I know they tilled it quite a bit. So, I really don't have the answer of why, it did what it did, but, it definitely caught a lot of people off guard.
Brad, I want to talk about, you mentioned Donnie's shots. It's been obviously an interesting time for Donnie the last year and a half, and we've talked about it endlessly. We've talked to Donnie about it. We've talked to Tony. We've talked to Ricky Warner. We've talked to everybody about the struggles that they're having. And Donnie Schatz does not go to the Knoxville Nationals to finish second. We all understand that. But boy, that looked like old Donnie Schatz to me. The way he was running, the speed that he had. In fact, the speed that he had, I had him as my pick because of the last 10 laps of his prelim night. So Brad, my question to you, if you're Donnie Schatz, despite finishing second, do you think there might be a little pep in the step that they're maybe getting their arms around some things with the team?
Oh, I would absolutely think so. Yeah, they, They were so good through the slick, the slickest part of the racetrack for so many years, but they were able to develop that setup and the torque and the RPM curve, of the engines that they were running, the shock package. They worked on that for many, many years and had it down. Well, then, you throw in a complete new engine package where the RPMs and the torque comes in at different places. And that's what they've really been struggling and working on, is trying to get you can have the greatest horsepower numbers on a dyno. And Erin, you know this, that doesn't mean anything. Possibly those 2 laps of qualifying, especially at the Nationals, is so important. But if you can't drive it in a slick, which I mean by that is if you can't control the power band and be able to roll into the throttle without blowing the tires loose, even Donnie Schatz is going to struggle. And that's what they've been struggling with, is trying to get, the engine drivable. And it's got good horsepower. And I think it looks like they're getting closer to that and getting the race car set up to match the engine and that kind of thing. And Donnie, I think he's had to change his driving style a little bit. You see him running the top of the racetrack more and leaning on the cushion more, and maybe getting out of his comfort zone a little bit more. But it does look like they're starting to get a handle on it. And I would think after a great run like that, he's probably disappointed to run second. But as you said, on the other hand, he's got to feel, I would think, a little more comfortable that maybe they are getting closer to getting back to what they had.
Yeah, I would agree. And I thought his interview after the race was telling. He was very gracious, where sometimes Donnie, who runs second, isn't quite as happy. Brad,
Yep.
I wanted to ask you your thoughts on the 50-lap race. I'm kind of on the fence of how I feel about it. I do think it's the biggest race of the year. It deserves to be something special. I realize that 40 laps at Knoxville is hard with fuel and tires. So I'm kind of on the fence. I can see both sides of it. What are your thoughts on the 50 laps versus no break?
Well, I got to be careful, because I've gotten some DMs from some drivers who, are disappointed in some of my opinions. But and I've stayed out of the fuel stop for years now.
Oh, sorry, I threw you in.
Pardon?
I said I'm sorry then that I asked you that question, but there's always going to people have different opinions.
Yeah, and unfortunately with Paul McMahon's fire, that brought it up again. But my argument, a 38-gallon fire doesn't burn any hotter than a 33-gallon fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to burn longer. But if those extra 5-gallon, if you're waiting for those to burn off, you're in trouble anyway. So, but it does add some weight, and there is more of a chance of maybe the tank coming off. But that can be fixed as well. So my opinion is, I would like to see it go 40 laps and not count on a stop, and not be able to change tires. And I can hear people screaming already, but racers would figure it out, whether they would go to a bigger tank, whether they would go to a smaller injector motor for the future, or whatever. Racers would figure
tires,
it out.
Whatever.
Yes, exactly. They go to harder tires. And to me, that would the teams would have to decide, okay, am I going to go to a softer tire and hope to get out front and baby it and finish, or am I going to go to a harder tire and starting deeper? I got to run harder, that kind of thing. So that would be fun to see how that plays out. But I guess Knoxville, and everybody would argue, it's a sold out crowd with standing room only and pit passes, so they're doing something right. But I've seen the debate, and from the unofficial poll, it does look like a lot of people do not like the stop. They'd like to see it go nonstop somehow. I don't think 30 laps is enough for a big race like that. It's over too soon. And so many times a 40-lap race, the guy leading at lap 30 does not win it at lap 40, no matter where it's at. It just seems like those last 10 laps make a big difference. So for what it's worth, and like I said, I'll probably take a lot of heat, but, I'd like to see it I'd like to see at least tried one year to go to 40 laps nonstop.
I think that I'm with you, and I don't really mind the 50 laps. I don't really love the break either. But one thing that most drivers said to us on stage was they treat it like two different features, and I didn't like that.
Yep.
That part bothered me. Like, no, don't say that. This is one race. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
See, and that's exactly right. I mean, yes, they run hard, those first 25 laps to try to put themselves in position, but they know that break's coming. They know that they're going to get to change tires, shocks, gear, whatever they need to change, and race hard that last 25 laps. So that's the downside. And you and I, I'm glad we're in agreement on this, because I think we're you know what it's like. We're not racing anymore, Erin.
It's easy for us to say.
It's easy for us to say, but if I was still out there racing and trying to make a living at it, I might have a different opinion. But the most there's been a few current drivers that feel the same way too. They would rather see it go nonstop.
Yeah.
And so.
What's your vote, Steve?
I think I'm more. I think you guys convinced me the nonstop, because I'm a strategy. I love when a NASCAR race evolves into wild strategy, and to me, the 40-lap race brings the strategy in. Conserve, run hard. Where you start is going to determine if you start mid-pack, you're going to, how do you get to the front without using your stuff up? So I think I tend to go. I think just listening to Brad's description of it as a strategy kind of guy, I think I kind of like the 40 laps too. I never really thought much about it. I've heard the debate, but I've never thought about it. I've never sat in a car. I'm just Joe race fan.
Well, Brad and I were around the years that they used to do 30 laps, and then I think did we do 40 one year?
I think they actually did do it, and I've always been in favor of longer races. Steve Kinzer and I've talked about it, and Steve was, he loved longer races. He was that big brute, he could outlast a lot of guys in a longer race. But, I know there are some people out there that, adamant that, that are in the sport and in the business, and that, 30 laps is supposed to be, quote, a sprint car race, that no sprint car race should ever be over 30 laps. And I remember the National Open was 150 laps with a 75-lap stop, and they could run 75 laps back in the, So, and I hate to sound like an old timer, things weren't always, better in the good old days, but still, sprint car racing doesn't mean it has to be 30 laps or less. It can still be a sprint car race and be a 40-lap or even 50-lap race. Well, look at the Ironman. I mean, it's a sprint car race at 55 laps. Yes, it's a quarter mile or whatever it's listed as, and they're gonna burn a lot less fuel than they will at Knoxville on the bigger track, where they're running harder on the throttle and using a lot more fuel. But there again, people know 55 laps, but they're working harder. I mean, physically, they are definitely working harder at Peevely than at Knoxville.
Yes. No
doubt. Final question for you, Brad, before we let you out of here. The debate part.
I had a good time.
That's it. Yeah. Part of the television screens at racetracks. We actually had the race winner. He was here. He's on our television program. And despite the fact that he utilized the television screen to his advantage, he wishes they'd take him out of every racetrack within the vision of the driver. First off, I can't even imagine thinking about the television screen, let alone watching it and benefit from it. What's your take on television and big screens that we all love to watch inside the stadium? What's your take on that where drivers can see it?
Well, ironically, I tweeted about this too, and I thought, oh boy, I just got myself in trouble again, because, I work for the World of Outlaws with their TV, and what they've done with Dirt Vision is great. And, they've got their portable screens, and I think it was Lawrenceburg where the screen was visible to the drivers. And, I wasn't putting Dirt Vision down because the screens are so awesome for the fans. I think it's so great that the fans get to see replays and interviews and all that stuff on the big screen. And I am so glad to hear Kyle say that, because I've been adamant about that for years too, that we don't allow two-way radios in sprint car racing, because of blocking and advantages and different things. And why would you have a screen that the drivers can see where other, the cars behind them are running, or, when you're in second, you can't sneak up on the leader and try to get by him before he knows you're there because he sees you coming. So I absolutely agree 100% that the screen should never be visible to the drivers.
Hear, hear. There you go. I think we're all in agreement on that. Well, we all just get along like everyone does here on the show. We all just get along so well. It's great.
Yeah, if they would just listen to the three of us, everything would be great.
Oh, it'd be the perfect world, Brad. It'd be the perfect world. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Brad, we really appreciate you spending some time with us here today. Of course, Sprint Car and Midget Magazine and all of the platforms that you're on. Thanks so much for helping us break down the Knoxville Nationals.
Well, thank you. It's great seeing you guys out there. And, yeah, it's kind of sad that it's over, but we'll do it all again next year, hopefully.
358 days.
Not that we're counting.
358 days.
Yeah,
because it was 360 on Sunday. So there you go. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
There we go. Brad Doty joining us on the Dryden Hotline. Stay with us. We're going to continue on here in just a moment. Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength. Want to experience racing in its purest form? Do you yearn to return to where NASCAR came from? Watch high-banked, full-throttle, super late model racing at the World 100 at Eldora Speedway on Flow Racing September 8th through the 11th. It's the crown jewel of dirt late models. This is grassroots racing at its finest. See who will win a Globe by subscribing today. Go to flowracing.com/world. That's FLOracing.com/world.
Over 200 events from coast to coast, and they're celebrating 30 years of Scattering Soil, the American Sprint Car Series, the world's largest sprint car sanctioning body, and bringing more thrills with wing and even more non-wing action in 2021. 11 regional tours, the national tour. No matter where you are, we're coming to a track near you. Can't be there? Get double the streaming fun with Racing Boys and FlowRacing.com, bringing all the adrenaline to your favorite streaming device. See the full lineup of events now at ASCSRacing.com.
Just looking at some stats here over the last little bit of time, and saw where Carl Bowser won at the Sharon on Saturday night, and then just started looking, and really putting together a strong run here from about mid-July on, and he joins us on the Dryden Hotline. Hello, Carl. Welcome into Wing Nation.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing well, Carl. You picked up the win at Sharon. You got a second win there, or one there a couple weeks ago. Some really good runs over the last month or so. Looks like you got things rolling along pretty well with your race team.
Yes, sir. We've been working on it. We got one of these Australian chassis from Triple X, and since we put that thing together, I don't think we've been outside of the top 5, and most of those have been top 3s. So it's been pretty good.
Carl, you had some high praises for Sharon after the race, and it was always one of my favorite racetracks. There's a top, a bottom, it's slick through the middle. Just talk about why you love the racetrack so much.
Well, that's just it, what you just said there. I mean, it's always pretty consistent. You can just work on your race car. I sat in victory lane there, and I kind of argue with some of the racers around home here. Anybody can go fast when it's hammered down and everything, but when it looks off, you can work on your car, and Sharon especially. If you're not good on the top, a lot of times you can roll through the middle. 2 Saturdays ago there, we won, and I ran the bottom the whole race till I got to the leader, and then switched to the top and was actually a little better. So it just gives you options. It's not a one lane deal like too often racetracks turn into. Describe what you dealt with and how you got the win on Saturday night. Actually, Saturday we started on the pole, and they hadn't had any repeat winners. I mean, it again shows what kind of racetrack they have there. I think they had 11 races and 11 different winners. I started on the pole and thought maybe we'd repeat, and by the time we got to turn 2, I was almost in third. So So we weren't very good early, but got back to second and got racing with Adam Kekich for the lead in traffic, and just kind of stuffed it in on the top with him and 2 other lap cars, and made it exciting for the fans. But it worked out. I knew he was going to be tough, and I had Cole Duncan behind me, and Cole Duncan on a slick track in Ohio is something that I was afraid of the whole night, just of having to deal with him, and then held Cole off for the last 15 laps.
Carl, I want to talk to you about your support of the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. I know that you've been a longtime supporter, and just recently you said that some proceeds from all your T-shirts will go there, and it's actually become pretty personal with you. Your son has had to do a little bit of spend a little time there. Just talk about your support of the hospital and how now you're unfortunately getting to see it a little bit firsthand.
Yeah, for sure. It's something we've done now for probably 4 or 5 years. Our partnership with Turner's has always been evolving, and they're a big supporter of Children's Hospital. So, we came up with that a few years ago to do, part of our T-shirt sales. We donate every year. They have a big picnic at the end of the year, and have a bunch of patients from Children's out, and we take the race car. It's a great thing. And then just last year, when we found out that we were pregnant, we found out that our son was going to need surgery when he got here, and Children's was the place to be, the best place for him. So when he got here, he ended up spending about a week in Children's. So we got to meet a lot of people and see all of it firsthand. And we saw a lot at those picnics, getting to meet kids and putting them in the race car and hearing their stories. And it was really just mind blowing once we were there. Seeing all that firsthand and talking to people there and dealing with other, parents who had kids. And we were by far the lowest on the list of needing to be there, when you sit and talk to other parents on, we were there for 7 days, and I met people that had been there, had a child and they were there for 6 months or whatever it would be. And it was really, really mind-blowing. So it kind of brought it all full circle for us, and something that we're pretty proud of, and something that we really like to do.
It's amazing to me. We have such a passion for our racing, and we live for it. We breathe it. We do all of that. When we have a good night, we celebrate like it's the turn of the century. When we have a bad night, it takes us 3 days to get out of the doldrums and everything. How does when you're involved with a situation like that, even beyond your own personal involvement there, how does that help you, Carl, with perspective with our little old crazy sprint car world that we at times think is so important?
It's really changed, honestly, being around that, seeing how, like you said, it's just, it can be silly at times, in racing. It's not the end of the world. And honestly, we won Saturday night at Sharon, and Sunday we went to Tri-City, and I led every lap but the last one. I got past on the last lap for the win. And, even a year ago, that one, it would take me all week to get over that. And honestly, by the time we were loaded up and driving home, it was like, that's what it is. You just move on, and, life's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned another second place finish. Talk about your season. I mean, it has been really strong, a lot of podiums. And I saw that, your run at Lernerville was fantastic with the World of Outlaws. I think you were the hard charger that night. Overall, solid year for you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a lot of a tribute to my crew chief, Jeff Sportslander. He's a big block modified guy. I know Steve, we've had a few drinks after the races with him a couple of times. So, we get going every year when the middle of summer and everything slicks off, and he's licking his lips because he knows what to do. And so we just keep our package the same and keep working with the same people that we've been with for a long time with Triple X chassis and Ryder racing engines, and just keep working on everything.
Final question for you, Carl. The state of sprint car racing in Western Pennsylvania. We kind of watched this. I spent a little time out there with you guys a couple of years ago. Lernerville is kind of the mainstay on Friday night. I'm always a little confused on Saturday night. I know Sharon, Michaels, Pittsburgh. You got Tri-City on Sunday night now. What's the state of sprint car racing in Western Pennsylvania?
I would say it's been pretty strong. Definitely Lernerville on Fridays. It gets a good car count. And Sharon, honestly, last year I think we averaged almost 35 cars a night at Sharon on Saturdays. This year it's down, and I don't know if it's down like local racing across the board. I mean, I know I worked for Hoosier Tire Mid-Atlantic and Precise Racing, which is the speed shop here right down the road from Lernerville, and things are definitely down. I don't know if it's racing related, COVID related. I'm not sure, but it's kind of, the car counts have been down a little bit, and like you said, it's confusing on Saturday night. You know, racetracks that can't seem to work together. You know, schedule 2 4-10 races, and we have a limited number of cars here, and honestly, a lot of teams that like to travel. You know, even like ourselves. You know, if I don't have a race at Sharon on a Saturday, which we try and support them, you know, we like to get out. You know, a couple weeks ago we went to New York with the Outlaws, so Saturdays make it tough, and when racetracks don't work together, it makes it even more difficult. I know this weekend there's a race at Pittsburgh and at Mercer, which they like to schedule on top of each other. So need to have one of them guys on and figure that out, I guess.
Problem is, when we do that, we got to have 2 of those guys on. So
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the thing. I love hanging out with you guys there a couple years ago. It's just, gosh, I'm like, the potential is here. If we could get everyone pulling the rope in the right direction, you guys could really have something out there, because you got great racers, really good racetracks, a great history, a great pedigree, and everything is good. But that's another topic. We'll worry about it another time. Carl, I appreciate the time. Congratulations on the success, and I know we'll catch up with you somewhere down the road here, but thanks for joining us here on Wing Nation.
Of course. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There we go. Carl Bowser joining us here on Wing Nation.
Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style, single-stage cylinders, as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Sunoco is a proud partner of Wing Nation. Not all fuels are created equal, so fill up with Sunoco Ultratech. Sunoco Ultratech is a top-tier detergent gasoline that is proven to make your engine run cleaner, longer, and more efficiently. Using the same detergent package as what is blended into some of Sunoco's high-performance race fuels, you can trust Ultratech for your everyday race. Whether you're headed to the track or just hitting the road, fill up with Sunoco Ultratech and fuel your best.
Hey Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honeycrisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey!
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy.
Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up here, but I'm going to, those of you watching video, a little show and tell. Those on audio, I'll try my best. I did get a couple shirts out there and a hat.
Yes, so.
Yes, exactly. So I did good. First shirt, you got one of these too.
I did.
What a neat time.
It was fun.
The 410 dash.
I mean, taking the shot of Fireball at first half mile and then a beer didn't make the middle of the run go well, but
it's
it was
all right.
It was
Toughen
good.
up a little bit. Yeah. So yes, one of my shirts I got was the 410 dash. Loved it. I had so much fun doing that. That was so neat. Okay, so I got my 410 dash shirt. Okay, I went over to the hospitality suite. I got a 3G spot. Suite 3G. Okay, is one of the.
Now that's a crowd there.
But that's one of the party spots. Keeping turn 2 wet since 2009. Exactly. So the 3G spot, I got one of their T-shirts. Pretty sharp looking back design there and everything else. And then snuck over to Rico Abreu's trailer. Oh, you kidding me? Best looking guy on campus when I'm wearing my old Jason Sides T-shirt. That's right. Absolutely. I got my Jason Sides T-shirt. I had like, back when I first started doing this, I bought a couple of Jason Sides T-shirts and it just struck me. I don't have a good Jason Sides T-shirt. Well, I didn't until now.
Well, now you do.
Now I do. And then finally, An Iowa beer bus cap. Our
Yeah.
main.
You can thank me for that. I did a little negotiating.
Did you
to
really?
get-
How did that happen? Because
Well, I saw the hats on day 1, and I said to Ashley, I need to get me one of them. And by the day 4, I was like, I don't see them. They're gone. So I asked our buddies there, and he said, oh, just give me a minute, and came out and supplied us with some nice
so
new
I got
hats.
an Iowa beer bus hat. Love
I
that.
mean, that was honestly, I love Knoxville. That might be one of my favorite stops. That and the Cattlemen's.
Our next door neighbors. Wow, Kendra put us in a good neighborhood. If you're not familiar with it, we're out there and we're right next to the Iowa beer
I
bus.
cannot imagine their sales on Saturday because there was a line the entire day.
time. The entire time. Yeah, I was talking to him and he said he started and he's like, oh boy, we're wide open here. But then he's like, well, what do? You can't bring in new help because you spend more energy training them than waiting on customers. He said, you just roll up your sleeve and start slinging booze. That's what you do. So it was
He
cool.
had his tool belt on. He was ready to go.
He was all good to go. Absolutely. So great stuff. That's for sure. Again, I want to say this to Kendra, John McCoy, everyone in Knoxville, to VFW, Sage Fruit, and to Hercules Tires, our partners with the stage and with the show, to Kreger, Frank Beers, and Nicole from our operations department. Kreger's our producer, to all the drivers and guests that we had,
and fans.
and the fans. The fans, unreal. Unreal, unbelievable. What a good time it was, that's for sure. So there you have it. The 60th running of the NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals. Wing Nation gear, if you didn't get it at Knoxville, is available at wingnation.com. That's www.wingnation.com. Also, it's on the All-Star Circuit of Champions trailer. Coming up on our Thursday podcast, Steve Beitler made some news going into Knoxville that he's selling his racetrack. Well, we got into Knoxville, so we're going to catch up with him and find out what's going on out at Skagit Speedway. And I know he's got a big one coming up out there as well. And then finally coming up on Wing Nation Television, presented by Sage Fruit, Kyle Larson joins us in studio. So that is Wednesday night on Rev, Saturday on Mad. Hey, we appreciate our drivers joining us here today, and Brad Doty joining us, as well as Carl Bowser. More important than all of that, though, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation.